Hey there, hello, welcome back to the Inside Scoop. Today I am connecting with Oscar. We are practicing the social distancing that is the norm around these days. So we are connecting over the slow cables of the United Kingdom's internet, sadly, but hopefully everything will be fine. Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
Not bad. Ready to tackle this week and this corona and everything in between because it seems like we're gonna need quite some preparation and energy and everything to go through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to get over all of this madness and everything.
I
However, we
mean,
still shouldn't. Sorry, I cut you off, man.
that's fine. I mean, I think we're okay as computing students. We're kind of used to the social distancing.
It's way easier. Yeah, way easier.
uh,
However, we still shouldn't use this as an excuse to stop doing the things we like to do or the things that we want to do. That's why we're here. We're in our virtual studio. Um we should tackle our goals, whatever they are. Currently we're working on the game. Like I'm working on it hard. I want my game to succeed. I want to publish it, so that is my goal currently, and I'm focusing on it because Corona is here, so we
yep.
are we have more spare time, so we basically have to tackle it, tackle other things. Is there anything that you're currently uh, tackling, whatever, as a goal?
Oh, I'm getting back into the swing of things. I got used to actually being more social than I ever used to be. So this kind of break from that is kind of challenging, but I'm thinking I'm awaking my inner introvert again. So in
Oh,
that way, it's good.
just because you have to distance yourself socially.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you? Because I heard you say like a few days ago that it's taken a toll on you. Like you don't enjoy being alone so much, do you?
Did I say
Or
that?
or at
I
least
told
not alone, but like sitting at home for so long.
Yeah, no, I don't like working from home,
Oh
but it's
yeah,
just
that
something
one.
I'm going to have to get used to now that they've completely shut the library. And yeah, just I've cleaned my room up so I've got a nice environment to work in. So that's a positive. But yeah,
I mean, could you do it
could I
if you were to have a remote job or work from home? Could you do it?
I'd probably have to. It'd be tough. I don't know if I couldn't say now, but um, I did set up this desk that I have in my room already, and the monitors and everything. This that was not here at the end of last semester. It was
Mm-hmm.
brought over Christmas, and the idea was that I was actually going to utilize it to work because to work on websites visually, it's good to have like two monitors. So I thought I was going to utilize it, but in the end I didn't. But now I have to. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a good thing, I guess.
So do
At
you
least
like working from home?
I actually enjoy it. Yeah, it's not bad. The thing is, you have to get into a bit of a different mindset.
Oh yeah.
Some say for women especially, because they put on makeup in the morning usually when they go to office or whatever. Like it's the
Mhm.
social norm, I guess. So there are tips for them to wake up in the morning, even if you're staying at home, put on a little makeup. But it's just to get your body moving, just to get you into that sort of
Yeah.
a mindset, psychological state, just to get ready for the day.
Yeah, it
So
definitely takes
yeah,
getting used to, right?
yeah, it
So
does.
you got to get used to one way of doing things, I think, and stick with it. Uh, it applies to a lot of things, but to the way you work, apparently, yeah, especially, I think.
Yeah. Well, even not sitting in your pajamas all day,
Oh,
just
yeah.
waking up, having a quick morning coffee or whatever people like to do, dressing up, or even like pretending that you. And the thing is, distancing yourself from the bed itself, physically or mentally, because
Yeah.
it's easy to get back into that
So
slump
the
of
bed, the
yeah.
bed's right behind me right
Oh
now.
my
So
god, yeah, same. Sadly, we don't have like
you
a
know,
spare extra room where you could use it
yes,
as an office.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, my roommate's not here very often. So,
You
it's
can
like I
use this
just
room.
nah. Uh, I like my little setup here, but it's just still not. When you get into that mindset, especially when you hear it a lot, where you should really not, separating work from living and sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
If you start to follow that, then to go back into your room and set up an office there, whether it is just a placebo thing, you have to believe in something, right? So if I
Mm-hmm.
believe that I work best if I'm in the library, if I've had to walk a little bit, get some fresh air in the morning, sit down in the library and just work there. And
Mm-hmm.
if I believe that I can't really work well at home, then that's just how it's got to be. But now I've got to make the change, so I don't really have much say in that.
Hmm. But do you believe
Yeah.
in your mental power of overcoming things like that?
Well, I've got to.
Got to, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I believe in myself a lot when it comes to situations where you sort of. I sometimes even use this technique of throwing myself into something
Mhm.
just so I wouldn't have to overthink it. So I would just
Okay.
basically throw myself in there, knowing that I will be able to do it if I will not have a chance to not do it. You know what I mean? So
Come
it's
again?
sort of like throw yourself into position when there's no
Where
going
you
back.
have to?
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yes.
because psychologically I know that to just go get over the first hurdle of starting is hard, but if I throw myself in there, I know that I will be capable of accomplishing it. So even like working from home, like my flatmate, he constantly plays games, and this is almost the only thing he does in his room. Even though that he has, like has an extra monitor, standing desk, everything's there, literally ready to just like do work.
Yeah.
But because he plays games so much, the thing what happens is like he has to go to the library. And when I said, well, now, try working from home, you just can't because it just the mental barrier of saying no. This is where I play
Yeah.
games. I don't do anything else here. So.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends. Some people just hard believe that you have this kind of split. You have to have this kind of split
Mm,
between work and living at home. Uh, and for me, it was just kind of a decision that I made to to make myself believe that over time,
oh wow.
whether it's true or not. You know, there is some truth to it. Like if you don't have um some incentives or yeah, I suppose incentives to go and uh I don't know if you're at home, you've got like games on your PC
Mm-hmm.
stuff,
Yeah.
and you see them on your desktop. You kind of removing that distraction, or it's just the environment. Like got this environment for studying, I've got this environment for just enjoying myself and stuff like that. Like when I first started going to the library for like the first year, I never went to the library. But when I did start, it was kind of like I'll make this the sacred place where I just
Mm,
study, and
yeah.
like even if I see friends or whatever in there, I'm not going to like get distracted and chat with them. It's just going to be this place where I go and I study and don't do anything else there. And that changed eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of broke that rule, um, which I don't know if it's for the better for the worse. But I met a good friend at the library, so yeah.
Mm.
Uh,
I've tried it out. I've tried it out in my first year. That's for sure. I used to go to the silent study place where that I think that's the law library or something where basically it's just a quiet zone or silent zone
yeah,
where people aren't meant to make noise so others could study easily. So I've tried that area just to try and put myself in a position where I would have to study and not do anything else,
yeah.
but yeah, I just feel like
How
uh
does it feel?
you have an infinite willpower technically. If you think that you can do it, you most of the times can. There was this quote. Who said it? There was
Um,
a quote where uh, the one who says that he, I'm just paraphrasing, but like there's a quote which goes along the lines of the one who says, oh no, he who says he can and he who says he can't, they're both usually right. I think that's, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it's Will
yeah.
Smith, but I'm not sure if he took it
It's
from somewhere else. But it makes sense. It's one of those psychological things, you know.
yeah. I mean, it can go wrong. I think,
Yeah, for sure.
as of anything, I
Yes,
mean, it's moderation,
there's
really.
always an exception to the rule, but the thing
Like,
is, if you believe that you need to go to the library to study, you're right.
hmm
I
and
don't
you know,
believe in that.
if I believe it helps me, it's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
For
but
example, I don't believe in that. Like I think that I can work from anywhere, or at least that's the mindset that I'm trying to practice because I know that in future,
right,
for example, my goal is to try and establish myself as an independent person who's like working independently,
hmm
having any sort of freelance anything, which probably requires you to work from different places than the office. Um,
probably is.
so I'm like, setting myself up for. No, I don't
That
want to say success because it's not like you're gonna become successful because you know that. But like, if I reach the goal that I'm planning to, it will be easier for me then to complete to just keep working from home and stuff.
that is a fair point. Because like I have trouble, for example, working in the labs when it's loud and stuff like that. I potentially could get used to that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I much rather personally get used to a quiet environment because
Okay.
that's not easy either when you don't have anything going on and you have to just focus on your work. That's also kind of hard.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and the trouble is, what kind of environment am I going to end up in the future, and is it going to make it difficult because I'm
Oh
setting myself
yeah.
up to work in a
Yeah.
quiet environment, right? So that's the trouble there. If I do become, if I do like postgraduate here and become like a researcher here or something, and then I'll probably have like an office at some point,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or yeah, I'll have the library to me, so that's that will do for me if I do that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Depends on your goals, because I've from what I remember, you talked something about academia itself, didn't you? Mention
If you
something.
can remind me specifically what
Uh,
I was.
your life goals, what sort of direction you want to turn to, like doing postgraduate, maybe even teaching.
Yeah, so I'm kind of meandering. Still, I'm not exactly sure. Uh, because in the recent times it was a bit of chaos. I was trying to just speak to like academic stuff here, just to kind
Mm-hmm.
of get an idea of what that kind of work entails. Um, and before that last semester, I was all like, I'm going to work really hard at like this programming shit, and
Mm-hmm.
um, going to get land myself some good job, whatever,
Yeah.
and try to retire early, and then do my own research. Um, and
Ah,
then
that's what you mean. Mm-hmm.
and then I started thinking, that is very risky, right? Like, what if I never get to the point where I want to do my own research? So, or never get to the point where I can do my own research. It's tough because theoretically, if I am that passionate about whatever it is I want to research and I have something that I want to research, then I should be able to do this in my spare time, whatever
Mm-hmm.
spare time that I have. Um, but you know, it's it's interesting.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not something that I've answered for myself yet, because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of things that I can, just being around people who do research, and having at some point I'll have a supervisor if I want to do research, when I'm doing like PhD or something. That is like very valuable, to have that.
Yeah.
So just to straight up be an independent researcher straight off the bat, I don't know.
What does it take though to become one? And why do you think it's hard? Is
I
it
don't
just
think it's
finding the idea
I don't
or
think it's particularly hard. What would be particularly hard is actually getting to do what you want to do. Now, if I work a normal 9 to 5 programming job or whatever, and
mm-hmm.
then I go home and I do, and I'm passionate enough or dedicated enough to then pursue whatever I do want to pursue in my own time, uh, whatever knowledge I want to pursue or whatever, um, then do I need to put myself in a position where I have to work like to deadlines or I have to propose like research ideas to people to get
Mm-hmm.
funding and stuff like that. And if an idea is like really out there and it doesn't and people don't really see uh, why this could be useful, then you don't get funding, and it's that kind of thing. So yeah,
It's an interesting one. Yeah, I never considered this career path, I guess. As in academia, I don't think it's for me, man. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so, no.
one of the reasons I did consider it is because like generally you do research while you're also lecturing, especially here.
Mhm.
So it's like a 40-40-20 split. So you do 40% teaching, 40% research, I think, and then 20% something else. I can't remember. Uh, at university here,
Okay.
and so I quite enjoyed tutoring when I did it. So I was like, maybe I could actually do teaching for a job. So yeah, that was one of the things that went into it.
I think you could be good at it, don't you think?
Yeah, I
If you
mean,
like it. Mm.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I've yeah, I suppose, yeah. I do think a lot about it. I'm, class rep right now because I
Mhm.
want to make the quality of education better for people here,
Oh.
and I'm running for vice pres right now. But I'm probably going to continue to fulfill my role as a class rep as well, even though I don't kind of have to do that stuff. But yeah, that's like the reason I went into it, because I just wanted, like, I'm all about the quality of education. That's like
Yeah.
a thing. That's I don't have a lot of values, but one of values that I do have is quality of education for people.
Yeah, if you're getting one, you may as well, not bullshit and just actually go in for proper
Yeah,
education. Yeah, that's a good goal. That's respectable. It's a very nice
because
thing.
it's interesting because like if you take a look uh, at me 1 year back or something like that, I would have had no values at all, no goals in life, no nothing, uh, because I was just deconstructing everything to like all possible values that people take for granted, that are things that are right, things that are wrong. I've
Mhm.
talked about this before. I kind of just like went and deconstructed all of this, and that's what I've done with everything with my life before. And so I just did that until the point where it was it was pointless doing it any further. Um, to the point where asking the questions like meaning of life and stuff like that. And once you realize you've just kind of got to make one up for yourself, that's kind of the end of it. And then you've got to move on and actually start living a life. Or
Mm.
you could dig further into philosophy, which I kind of have, but not really. I've not really read many philosophy books. Um, like, I don't know, Plato or Nietzsche.
Mhm.
Nietzsche.
But you
Yeah.
have I think you have an analytical mind, don't you? Because I feel like
Uh,
by observing you, I just see how very constructed I guess you try to be, and it's like
yeah, it's
mm,
troublesome a lot of times, but yeah.
you think a lot, and I mean, assuming you were a professor, you'd probably get a quiet office somewhere here, no?
That's true. Um, yeah,
So if you're into this kind of stuff, then
but that's 40% of your day.
hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Well, and
I
then
don't
for
know,
the other 40, you get
because then you're
out,
teaching
walk
and yeah,
around, get to
interact
chat
with
to
people,
people.
which
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
actually started to enjoy. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Enough about me. I don't know.
I mean, we are talking about the goals, so
Yeah. So
I
I don't
could,
know.
I could, I could,
Tell me about your goals.
I could chat
Tell
a
me.
little bit about when you said you're gonna run for the VP, the vice president of what is it, the School of Science and Engineering, isn't it?
Uh,
Or
yeah, the representative vice
representative?
president thing. I'm not really exactly sure because it's a DUSA thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, Um, no, so I was just having a chat with one of the Taekwondo committee members, and I am most likely gonna end up being the captain next year because I
Hmm.
will be running for the captain. Also, from what I understand, there's not too many people interested in that role, and I also had a chat with a person who was a captain before, and it was nice sort of understanding what the role means. That it means, an ability to sort of lead actually, because you do get a committee and you do have certain tasks, but it doesn't mean that you as like a single person have to do them. um, because for example we have a dinner that we do every Tuesday after trainings. However, our captain always gathers the numbers, always asks like who wants vegan, who wants this and that. And I thought, oh, if being a captain means this, then maybe a bit, maybe a bit boring, repetitive. But apparently, he's like, well, you don't have to do it. I don't know why our captain is doing that. You don't have to, you can
Mm,
assign someone else if you have the committee. You can share
yeah.
it. You can assign it because you're the leader there. So
Right.
so I'm thinking that he sort of inspired me, and I'm
Yeah.
actually, as much as I know that this is our fourth year and it's gonna be hard and all
Oh
the
yeah.
studies, but I mean, I I just want to help the club too, because
Yeah.
it's a pretty
Absolutely.
small club. If there's no committee, there's basically no club. So I want to participate. I want to, and also learn some leadership skills, I guess,
Oh yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
marketing too. Because you're almost responsible for recruiting new people
Hmm.
and responsible for overlooking a bigger thing,
Yeah.
which I'm like sort of actually interested in, because
Yeah. I mean, you
yeah.
don't get a lot of opportunities to have a
Oh
lot of
no,
opportunities like that, and
no, for sure.
to overlook an operation like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good experience.
dude. Even with the last sentence that you just said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll go for it. Cause yeah, it does make sense. You don't get too many opportunities until you get into the workforce, and they say you climb the ladder.
Mm,
But what does it mean? What's the top?
yeah.
The top basically is to just overlook stuff. You become the manager. You become the manager's manager, all the way until you become the what is it, the investor, who just
Right.
basically gets to do nothing, basically,
Right.
practically. Is
Gotta work your ass
but
off though.
yeah, but that's the thing, you're a guy with a lot of money investing into things to get money out of them. So,
Yeah.
which is basically considered the top, I guess, because
Yeah.
what's up there? But for some people, obviously, it's quite different. Like, I don't know what I would consider being at the top of your career. Maybe being at the top of your career is teaching the biggest class of students you currently have, or like the most passionate students, or
See,
inspiring the most people. Like, it doesn't
yeah.
necessarily have to be the society's preset norm, which is make a lot of money and be a very influential.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly something that feels good to inspire people
Probably.
and help
Oh
people,
yeah,
like
yeah.
even in a small sliver of time in this one semester or something. Because I look at myself sometimes and I feel like you know I'm I might not be capable of the bigger thing. Like I look at like programming jobs and stuff like that, and I just feel like I couldn't hack it, but um, when I look at those individual modules that we do, I can like study them really well. And if I can study them really well and then be a tutor for them, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter about my information or about my knowledge of other subjects. The most important thing is this one module, and if I can convey that really well and explain it really well to somebody, it's going to help them in
Yeah, for
their
sure.
career. So if I can at least do that, then that kind of this is kind of fulfilling. Yeah.
I, th- I think anything you do is fulfilling and nice. Any any sort of activity that involves making someone else's day, or even just assisting them. That's why
Yeah.
I actually
I mean, this is
like the
fulfilling. I love
feeling.
this.
Well, even this, yeah, this is chatting. This is hopefully someone else gets any value of it. Hopefully in the future, it's gonna be a bigger thing and even more meaningful to others. Maybe more focused sessions but I enjoy this too. Like, I have noticed that helping someone, I'm always up for it.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I'm like yeah, I'm not an expert, but a person who has spent like countless hours researching that topic. For example, videography, audio work, any sort of basic server work, the things that I currently do the best, or game development. Yeah, I'm more than happy to just sit there and spend time with a person explaining to him the things I know than just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I like this, but I think about academia and actually teaching people like every day. I don't think I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because yeah, tutoring for me is fun, and it's just like somebody stuck on something, and you kind of have to explain it to them.
Hmm.
To like, I don't know. I guess I mean a job is a job at the end of the day, and if you enjoy it slightly, that's good.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be, because I've heard this term being not a term, but like a concept being thrown around. When people come up to you and just or you introduce yourself, you just meet a new person, for example, and the person's like, "What do you do?" That's usually the question.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much for us yet, because
No.
it's most likely the answer is like, "Oh, I'm a student,"
Yeah.
But assuming you get into your 30s or whatever, when you're already like built a sort of a portfolio of things and you're in the workforce and people come up to you and ask, "What do you do?" It's the worst answer to this is to say, "Oh, I work as a programmer at IBM," because this literally just kills the conversation. Well,
Mm.
if the conversation doesn't end, at least it ends sort of like, well, maybe, yeah, if that's like your biggest passion ever, because you're like, "Oh my god, I'm this programmer at IBM which wakes up every morning, does this to its fullest potential." That's sure.
Yeah.
But apparently what you're supposed to say is like, "Oh, I don't know, I ride books, I ride bicycles,
Mm.
because the question doesn't literally say, where do you work most of your day or whatever,
Right.
it's the question's more like, what are you about? Like, tell me something more that's interesting and that you like if someone was to ask me, what do you do, I usually just say, "Oh, like, I don't know, like, I'm doing a game now. That's the thing I'm interested the most now. Doing a podcast, doing," as opposed to just, "Oh, I study computing and I also do a night job," and which is closed obviously now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So try to avoid these pitfalls of just putting attaching this little label to yourself because you work there, for example.
Mm. Yeah.
We're more than
I
that.
suppose.
We
Yeah.
are
I
what
guess
we are passionate
what we
about, I guess, more like something like that.
what we repeatedly do. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess so. Is
I
that
mean,
one of Oscar, is
I
that
mean,
one of our series which Aristotle said?
Aristotle. Yeah. Was it? Yeah.
I don't know. Well, probably it was his quote. I don't know whose quote that is.
I don't know. You mentioned to me about focusing on one thing and just doing that, right? Uh,
Yeah.
anything in particular that sparked you to think about that?
Well, now, honestly, my game. That
Yeah.
is that is one of the things that just grabbed me, and I was like, dude, I'm creating a Steam page already. That's it. I'm like, the first week of development, I thought, right, this is the best opportunity for me to get something published, which I always wanted, to have something up
Yep.
as a product which I could market, which I could sell. Dude, I even created TikTok for this reason.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's the thing. And I started Instagram, I started Twitter marketing, well, without spending money yet, but I started all of these sort of engagement channels where I could learn more about, uh, well, again, coming back to the management and leadership thing, just learning more about this skill because I'm interested in it. So not only
Yeah.
I'm a programmer and all I can do is back end or front end or whatever. I had a conversation today with a friend and he's like, dude, I hate this module. I hate this game development. And I
Right.
was like, wait, why? He said, well, because I don't like it. I'm not a creative person. And then I sort of tried and have a conversation with him saying like, do you just say that you're not a creative? Would you ever want to, maybe it's like a nocebo or whatever, where it's like someone told you, so now you believe him, and then now you're like trying to limit yourself. But he said, no, I know about this all, but my life goal is to do back end engineering. So I was like, oh,
Mm.
well, wait, that makes sense then. Like
Yeah.
maybe this big creative thing is not for you then. Sure. It's not a bad thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Some people like
I,
that, some people like that.
I don't. I suppose creative. It takes a lot of forms. Creativity takes a lot of forms. I suppose. I mean, for me, this module is still a creative endeavor, just in a different way. I'm not creating visuals or music. Um,
No, you're not doing
I am
the
making a,
traditional thing.
I'm not making. I'm making a game, but like the most creative part of this for me is thinking about the environment, the procedural environment generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most creative. Like that might be. I don't know if that's hard. That doesn't seem like a creative thing to you, or if it
Well,
does
even programming is creative, isn't it?
in a way.
In a
But
way, yes.
the way you kind of the artists get like in the kind of zone and of creating music or painting or whatever. Uh, that's kind of how I feel when I think about this procedural generation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah,
As long as
those
you
things.
trigger that flow state, as long as you're
So
there, that's nice.
like for any modules that I do here at some point I was like I'm just gonna put all my effort into any modules that I do. I mean I'm just putting myself out of my comfort zone. That's all it is. Like I'm going to have enough time for the rest of my life to sit down and program in office
Mm-hmm.
if I do that.
Yeah.
Like you know I'm here for we should if we're here we might as well enjoy what we're doing and like participate fully in the modules that we do. Uh,
Yeah, because
just kind
we're
of
we're here once. For some people, maybe most of the people, we're here only once in this university environment. Some people,
yeah.
go maybe do another bachelor's degree, another master's degree, anything. But for some people, for me probably, well, unless robots take our jobs in 20 years, which I heard may happen.
Mm,
um, unless this happens, I'm probably here only once. Like, I'm not planning
yeah.
on coming back to uni. Um,
Well, you are quite a creative person, so the future is for the creatives, I think. Uh, when we all get the universal basic income.
hopefully
uh,
they I mean, yeah, that's a topic for another day
for
with
another
this
video,
with
maybe,
this
yeah, maybe. Yeah. These
basic
kinds of
income.
fucking very focused topics. So yeah,
Yeah, because I don't yet have a proper formed opinion. I know who we
right,
could get on the show and try get him on the show for next time to talk about this because I know that he would be good. So I'll try to talk that person into
right,
it. But I don't have proper opinions about it because as much as I support the right, with all of these claims that, outcome, what is it? The equality
Oh
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
outcome is undesirable because it sort of makes sense, because it becomes like, what is it, communism or whatever.
Yeah, look, have you ever as a child, look, have you ever as a child, I don't know, as a child, when I had a bunch of colors in front of me and I learned that I could mix these colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd mix like red with yellow and I'd get orange and be like, cool, wow, I just made a new color. And then I'd try more and more crazy stuff and I'd mix all the colors together and I'd get brown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this pooey brown, I don't like this. Get away with this. This is what happens when everything's equal. When we mix everything together, it's boring. It's fucking boring, right?
That's an
That's just
interesting way of looking at it, I guess. Yeah.
um that's what happens. Yeah. And we can so the yeah, equality of outcome, but the other one was equality of opportunity, right?
Yeah, and I
So
very much support that.
yeah.
However, people do still say that, some individuals are less fortunate, some are more fortunate, but as long as everyone's given an equal opportunity to compete right from the get go, then yeah, I guess, because the market gets to decide who actually wins or who loses.
Yep. If we try to mess with that, I mean, it's like messing with nature. You ain't,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, like
We're
things
gonna
get
try to talk about it next time.
adjustments are made. Yeah, sure. Let's leave it till. Yeah.
It's quite a passionate topic. I could talk about it, but then at the same time, I don't want to offend anyone. And I have talked to other people who are very radical, other side believers, and I heard their opinion, and it almost shaped mine, which was like, hmm,
Well,
you're speaking very valid arguments. That's why I don't want to get into any of like radical arguments or opinions. However, I want to objectively present this topic and probably have a little discussion on that. And for sure, let's have a conversation, because conversation is the way to move forward. We should, well, I wanted to say we should stop social distancing ourselves, but yeah.
mm,
Anyway, we in this amidst this corona we shouldn't, but conversation is the way to move forward, and
yeah,
freedom of speech and everything, we should be allowed to say our feelings, our thoughts.
yeah,
um some may not agree with them, sure, but that's it's another thing, because if person A says something that person B does not agree with, it's free speech, because person B may say his stance and then person A will not agree with him. So basically it's a mutual disagreement, but they both get their right to express their opinion, which
hmm,
which is correct, because
yeah,
maybe the truth is usually somewhere in the middle, and we
yeah.
need all of these. We need all of the fighters. We need everything. Like even
Yeah,
yeah.
and probably it's. I was reading an article recently. I can't remember how I came across it, but it was about like it mentioned like capitalism and socialism or whatever, and how like the most socialist changes and or moderated capitalism like happens have like the changes that have been made like 8 hour working days and stuff like that that
Hmm.
were introduced. It didn't happen because somebody was out there vouching for these moderate kind of ideas. It was the extremists, right? It's always the extremists. That's why we get the change
Yeah,
because
that's
and
literally
we have to have these people.
literally
And
that's what I
and I
was gonna
say
say.
these people, but I'm probably an extremist on some subjects as well. But you
Yeah,
know,
possibly.
I'm quite I'd say I'm quite objective, and I don't have a lot of opinions. But
Yeah, but that's literally what I was gonna say, because there are people who go the extra mile to go to the parades, to go to like protests and everything, and
yeah,
just because of those people,
yep,
we are currently where we are. And yeah,
you've got to have that, and that's just yeah, it's the whole system working in tandem.
yeah. I mean, we're not proposing to go out there and break windows and do protests and stuff. But
Well, if you
if
have
you
to, you have
if you
to.
have to, probably. But if
You
you
know.
feel like you have an idea, which is a truthful idea, you should speak up
Mhm.
and tell people about it.
It's a
And I
good
think
idea.
that's a good idea to talk about good ideas. However, our time is up today,
Oh,
and I
oh,
know.
that's so good.
It's a very nice conversation. Very nice to have you here. I
Oh,
am
thank
looking forward to having you on way more episodes because I enjoy conversations with you, my friend.
Ah,
Ah,
you too, friend,
friend, pal,
friend,
comrade.
comrade.
And we're gonna
Yeah.
try and get some more people involved in this. Thank
Oh yeah.
you, everyone, for listening. Oh, do we end on some words? Keep fighting.
Oh, gee, sure.
No, wait. The thing is, you don't. If we are not encouraging violence or any sort of fighting, because that's basically you can go to prison for that. But
That's the only reason. Nothing else. It's not. That's not within our values. Nothing like that.
no, but just keep pushing, keep pushing yourself, because most of the time your mind is the only enemy. And
So,
that's
yeah.
how we're gonna end today.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, and see y'all later.
Goodbye.